so glad to have you with me today. I am Laurie Bates and I represent Utah State University Create Better Health SNAP Ed program. And we are here to teach people how to cook from scratch and eat healthy and to have an active lifestyle. And these lessons are based on USDA recommendations. And we are also affiliated with the USU Extension, and we are so happy about that. Today we're going to talk about labels and some barriers for exercise. But first, I'd like to make a very quick and fast meal. Chicken stew over mashed potatoes. And you can make this with chicken, or you could do ground beef or sausage or whatever you might have in your freezer or your refrigerator as far as meat goes. And if you're going to do beef, I would do like a beef broth instead of the chicken. But everything else pretty much could stay the same except for your chicken cream soup. You could change it to like a mushroom or something, or a celery, that type of thing. So this is really fast because one, I have frozen like my onions and celery and whatnot already from another time. I bought a rotisserie chicken. I deboned it and then put all the bones in my crock pot and let it just cook for like 6 to 8 hours with water. I just put water all the way to the top, and I got my own chicken broth, and then I froze that in this jar, so that when I'm ready to make something, everything, I just have to de-thaw things in the microwave or put them in the refrigerator overnight and have them de-thaw. So easy, you can do it, and it's fast. And that's what it's all about on nights that you feel as though you're just going crazy with the time restraint. Let's get started, shall we? All right. The first thing you're going to need is, of course, something to stir with, and a saucepan of some sort, and a stove. Or if you don't have a stove, we could probably do all this in the microwave. And if you need to know how, put it in the comment section, and I will get that sent to you so that you have it. All right, so we're going to put 1 tablespoon of water. Sometimes you would use oil, and you could, or maybe, a tablespoon of butter to do your onions up in. But why not use water when you can, because it will cut that extra fat out of your diet. So I know it's only a tablespoon, but a tablespoon every day, or 3 and 4 times a week adds up, right? All right. So because in 1 week we've got, let's say, almost a cup of oil that we've used. So if we did it every day. So I'm using water so it can be done. And it does not, differ from your flavor or anything. And it does really good, as you will see. So let's get started and do that. So 1 tablespoon of water. And if you need a little bit more, add a little bit more. It's just water, right? So it's not going to hurt anything at all as far as calories or anything like that, okay? All right, and then we're just going to put this on low-medium heat for right now. And I'm just going to dump my vegetables. They're already cut. Isn't that great? I love doing that. And you can do that with any of your vegetables that you use quite regularly. You can do carrots and celery and onions and put them all together, the trilogy. A lot of recipes use that. So go ahead and save yourself some time. And one time you can have all your kids and your husband and whatever, or just you, and just take it and get them all prepped and put in the freezer. And that would save some time as well. Not to mention you'd only cry once with the onions. Okay, so we're going to get that. And our onions are cut coarsely, and it's a medium onion or whatever you have on hand. And then we're going to do 2 cups of broth when this gets to where it's a little bit translucent. The onions, you can somewhat see through them instead of being solid in color. And so this is starting to get this going. Okay, now this dish I have made ever since my kids were small. So it's been a long time that I've been making this particular dish. They loved it then, and they love it now. I believe my one daughter still makes it to this day. She does a little different maybe. She might put corn in it if I remember right, and that would work too. So that would be really good. The only reason why I don't do that is because the potatoes and the corn make 2 starches, and I really want to stay away from that. Plus, I'm using an all vegetable can. You can use frozen and use whatever combination of vegetables you want. Even the California blend that has like broccoli and the carrot, you could use that too. Experiment, make it your own, and just use the broth and everything else as being basic. Okay. Okay, well that smells really good, so I know it's getting close. So I wanted you to see that. So I think that's looking pretty good. A little bit more maybe. Don't let that burn. Try and keep an eye on it. Okay, so then we're going to do 2 cups of chicken broth, and then our can of frozen mixed vegetables, 2 cups-ish. And then we're going to do a can of cream chicken soup, or you could do the SOS sauce and make your sauce up and use that. So either way would be acceptable and doable. I had the cream soup, so I figured I would go ahead and use that and keep my SOS sauce for another time. Okay, this looks really, really good. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour in my broth, okay? And then we're just going to get that going, and I'm going to put my heat up just a little higher. Okay, then we're going to do 1 to 2 cups of chicken, and you could do a can of breast chicken drain it. I think it's about 4.5 ounces, but you could do the larger one if you would rather have a little more meat in your stew. Okay, then we're going to add a poultry seasoning, and it's just a teaspoon, but it's just enough. And this seasoning, oh gosh, it smells so good. And I'm going to put that right in with my broth, okay? And if you only want to put a half a teaspoon, then that's okay too. Also, I ran out of salt. Do you believe that? And I meant to get some at the store, and I forgot. And sometimes that happens, right? Just like, So I looked through my seasonings, and I found some onion salt. We're having onions, so I figured, okay. So I'm going to use that today to replace the salt that I don't have. And I put it in with some pepper in this dish. So that's what we're going to use today. And you can do the same thing. Like if you have like a garlic salt or an onion salt, any of that will work and do a replacement for the salt if you end up doing the same thing one day. Also, if you don't want to use that seasoning, the poultry seasoning, you could use some oregano or some Italian seasoning in there, or you could just put a bay leaf in there right now, and that would also be good. Just remember to take it out. So it's very versatile. You can kind of switch it up and do what you would like to do. And I love that. It's the same thing I've been talking to you guys about, and it's having it your way, right? Not anyone else, just your way. The way you want to feed your family, the way you want to make it. And that's the beauty of doing things from scratch, is that you can do exactly what you want. So you know how you sometimes go to a restaurant and they just say, hey, you're getting this and that's it. And a lot of times they might change it up for you, but you're going to end up, you know, waiting a little bit longer to have that done. So I want to make sure my heat's up a little bit. Okay. So anyway, let's go ahead and put our seasoning of pepper and whatnot in here. And the onion salt. Okay. So it can start to get all mixed up in there. All right, this is starting to warm up really well. So I'm going to get my vegetables drained. And remember to rinse the tops of your cans when you get home from the store. And if you have your kids do it, or yourself or your husband, right away, and then, you know, take a paper towel and kind of dry it off, then it'll all be done and you don't have to worry about it when you're in a hurry trying to get to a soccer game or, you know, volleyball game or whatever your kids are doing. Okay? So I'm just going to drain that a little bit. I'm going to leave some of it in there for flavor, but I think that I'm just going to get that all in there. And it's going to be quite chunky, but that's what we like, right? That's what a stew is all about. All right, and then we're just going to add some chicken and just kind of eyeball it as to what you think. And if you have any left, you can just make a chicken salad for lunch. I think that I'm going to do that. So maybe 1.5 cups is what I added. Okay. Then, once we got that going, we're going to move this forward a little bit. That's looking really yummy. Can you guys see? Let you see that. Look at that. Doesn't that look nice and yummy and warm, and especially on a day like today when we've got snow coming down and snow on the ground, and maybe we're going to have to go out and shovel it. Okay, so while that is warming up, I'm going to pull that to the side. You know, I've used boxed potatoes, and they're okay. I mean, if that's what you have and that's what you need to use, then great. But it's so easy to do fresh. Just have, you know, a couple of potatoes for people like me who have 1 or 2 people. And then for a family, about a potato per person if you're making mashed potatoes. But so I have 1 medium potato, and I diced it up. I peeled it, of course, diced it up, and then put a little slit in the top of the bag. And then I put it in the microwave for about 2 minutes. And then you're going to want to get it to where it's pretty soft so that you can mash it. And then it's ready to go and be made into mashed potatoes. Now, I'm going to go ahead and warm this back up because I've had it here for, you know, 5 or so minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in the microwave. And it doesn't need maybe a minute just to kind of warm that up and get it to where we like it. Then go ahead and get yourself some bowls. And you could do a bowl that's shorter, and that would be beautiful. I was going to go over to the Green Gypsy, and which is a little secondhand things. And I was going to get a shorter bowl, but they're not open on Mondays, but they're open today. So maybe I'll go and make sure that I get some of shorter bowls, because I really do like it with this dish, and I think it would be really, really pretty. All right, but I have this bowl that I'm going to use, and what I will do is just get my little scoop, bigger ice cream scoop if you want. This is the one I have, or you could get a half a cup and mash the potatoes in there and then put it in your dish, and I think that's what I'll do. I think I like that idea better. Okay, so make sure you have your hot pads handy in case it's really too hot for you to handle, which it's not. So we're good. It's all steamy now. Oh, and okay, so pay attention to this too, and it's boiling. Oh gosh, this looks so good, you guys. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and add our canned soup right in there with a rubber spatula to get all that goodness out of a can. You know, these cans can be kind of expensive unless you get them on sale. We had a big sale on them at the store, so I picked up a few because we like to make that into like a gravy. And have you ever done that? Just thin it down and make it for gravy. It's really good. We make chicken balls with it and then pour gravy over it. We'll have to do that recipe one of these times. I think that would be way yummy. Way, way yummy. Okay, so we're just going to, I got some soup on my spoon. Okay, and you could do this in a crock pot too if you wanted. Just put everything I just told you in the crock pot. You'd have to do your onions and whatnot in a pan first, but that would work. Okay, so we'll just let that continue to cook down. And then let's get our potatoes done, okay? So I have one potato. It was, you know, a medium to large potato. And we put it in the microwave so you can see how that looks. And I don't have salt, but I'm going to go ahead and do my onion, salt, and pepper. And I'm just going to put maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon, just a little bit to kind of perk it up a little bit. And you don't have to. You could put something else if you would rather. And I'm just going to do some pepper. I love this little pepper mill. It's multiple peppers in it. It smells so, so good. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and take my masher, and if you don't have a masher, you could use your mixer, but it's such a little amount for me. But if you've got more, then go ahead and put it in your mixer. But don't over mix it, because then it's going to become really starchy. Okay, then I'm going to put some butter, or you could use margarine in that for flavor. And see, we put butter in here and we didn't have to in there, so we're kind of saving some that way. And then we've got some milk. You could use canned evaporated milk. You could use a little bit of Greek yogurt. That would replace like sour cream if you love using sour cream. And I'm going to put about a tablespoon of milk in here just to kind of loosen that up, and that's about all I need. So that's it as far as that goes. And I like mine a little chunky, but if you don't, then go ahead and get it nice and creamy, however you would like it, chunky or creamy or in between. Okay, all right, see how easy this was just to make these potatoes up? Nice, 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 right? Okay, so that's basically it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and scoop some of this. And you can see that we're going to have 2 servings in here. And this recipe really does, it makes 4 servings. So if you want to make 4 servings of a potato, go ahead and do another potato up. But it works out really, really well that way. Then we're going to need some parsley just to kind of sprinkle on top when this gets done. And let's pull this forward and see how this is doing. You know, we're going to talk about labels today. And I know we're all kind of frustrated with labels. Sometimes I am too. And I teach it, so sometimes you just think, oh my gosh, you get so overwhelmed and you feel like it's just too much, especially when you've got your kids at the grocery store and you're trying to get done and get your kids home and get them, you know, fed and bathed for the night. So it can be so much. But if you are in that position where you're feeling like things are just too much, then what could be done is you could just take and really quick look at the ingredients instead. And if you've got like this whole thing full of ingredients, then you know that it's something probably that you need to put back on the shelf. Because if you can't read the words and there's tons and tons of ingredients in here, then you know it's probably not a healthy choice. People look for labels for a variety of reasons, and those reasons could be dietary, and if you need to, just go ahead and turn this heat down a little bit, because we don't want to burn it. Okay, but whatever your reason is for needing to read labels, it's a good idea. So, a lot of people would like to be able to use information more easily, and this is one way, is just going to right to the ingredients. The only time that tons and tons of ingredients would be on the label, if you were to look at this label, it's really small, but it's got lots on there, and you're thinking, well, gosh, what could be in here that they are listing so much on here? Well, if you have your glasses and you're in the store, you could read that small print and know that, oh my gosh, look how many beans we have in here. We have 15 of them. And they have to list that on the ingredient part right here. So yes, it's going to be a little lengthy because there's so many on inside this package. So just know that if there's lots of whole yumminess in your package, that you're probably going to more than likely have a lengthy ingredient. And you know what? It's okay, because there's nothing in this that you're going to have to worry about. Okay? And then continue to kind of stir this once in a while. And we're trying to get this to where it's a little thicker. Also, if you ever needed to like make a little bit more broth, or if you didn't make any ahead of time, you could use this granuled, it's chicken flavored bouillon, but it's a loose granule. You could use that and make some chicken broth as well. You don't have to buy it in the can. You can just buy it that way. And then that will be more economical and budget friendly. Okay, back to labels. So let's jump right into going over the parts of the label while this is getting a little thicker. The first part of this label, the serving size, now appears larger up here. And they've done that so it's quick and easy to look at. And I appreciate that. I'm sure that some of you do too. And it's bold, so they've bolded it, and it's larger font. And some serving sizes have been updated. So like ice cream, the serving size has gone up. So that's cool, right? Then we have calories, and they are now displayed in larger, bolder font as well. Okay. Oh, sorry. That's the calories right there. And then the serving size is not as big as calories, but it does have it bolded now. Then we have daily values, and those are right here in this section. And you'll see they're done by percentage. And we'll kind of go through that, but they've updated those as well and got those bolded. As I wish they would almost put those a little bigger as well. Maybe they'll come to that next time. And then the fourth area, this area right here, this area is the added sugars, vitamins like vitamin D and potassium. And now we have those vitamin D and potassium listed where before we hadn't. And the reason being is because we're having more problems in America with the low amounts being eaten in that area. So manufacturers must declare the amount in addition to the percentage of daily value for vitamins and minerals. So they got to declare all of that. And now sugars are also being separated, and they're putting natural amounts of sugar that are naturally in the product along with added sugars. So that's also a new step that they have been doing. 2,000 calories a day is used as a guide for general advice, because you could have a job that requires you to have more calories, or you could have some reason for going below the 2,000 calories a day as well. Check your calorie needs at choosemyplate.gov, and then go into the resource section or the lifespan section and check that out. And if you go in there, look for all of the ages of all your family members, so that you can kind of jot that down and put it in your menu planning booklet that you have, I hope. And then it's recommended to keep added sugars to no more than 10% of your daily calories. So both natural and added sugars have 4 calories per gram. So they are done by grams. So on here you'll say, oh, okay, you know, how many sugars do we have, you know, on here? 4 grams of sugar equals 1 teaspoon. All right, and then, you know, sodium, we're supposed to try and shoot for 2,300 milligrams of sodium daily. And I keep wiggling this, sorry guys. So trying to keep that going is important, especially if you know, like have high blood pressure or something like that. People with certain health conditions, including, you know, heart disease or kidney disease, they might also have to look at that quite a bit. So I turned it off. Oh my goodness, it's nice and thick and yummy. I think it's ready to go. Okay, so we'll take our spoon out and get one that we can ladle this. I'm just going to pour that right over the top of that potato. And then let's go ahead and put a little bit of parsley on there, on top. And you can put anything you want on top. You could put a little crouton or anything like that. And guess what? I'll let you see that. Look how beautiful that is. Isn't that pretty? Talk a little bit about common barriers to physical activity, just a teeny bit. 2 of the things that maybe you're struggling with is childcare. Sometimes that's a difficult thing. We do and take them to the park. have a snowball fight, dance in your living room. You know, these positive things are the things that will stick with you and your children forever. They will always remember you took the time to do them. And not only is it good for that, but it's good for you. It's good for you to have a positive, fun time with your children. And it's good for your brain and your heart and everything. So get that done. And if you don't have children, get in there with your grandkids. And let's get active. Or better yet, find a buddy. My daughter was telling me that she had a neighbor that said she hated walking by herself, and would Chelsea like to go walking with her? And Chelsea says, oh yes, I hate walking by myself too. So I'm sure there are lots of women that are in that particular situation and would need a buddy. Okay, schedule your physical activity before the kids get up in the morning or during a nap time. And that's also, you know, a really good idea. Okay, identify free or inexpensive local resources. Sometimes you'll hear of like a 5K going on, or maybe people are walking around in the park, whatever. Find them out. So monitor your activities first for about a week. Just kind of jot down what it is that you're doing that's active. So you would say, oh, I got up in the morning, I went for a little bit of a walk, I came home, I've been, you know, parking far away and walking into any place that you shop, and then take an extra lap around the store so that you can count that as some exercise. You can just take 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, you know, 30 minutes somewhere, and it all adds up, and before you know it, you've got your exercise for the day. Okay, well, I think that's just about all I have for you today. I hope that you'll start looking, make it a goal, just one little goal to do with labels. If it's just, glancing at the servings or glancing at the calories, or just going right to the ingredients and making sure they're ones that you can read and understand. Also, we have a survey that would you please click and go into. It takes just a little bit of time, probably less than a minute. And I want to say thank you. So from my home to yours, this is Laurie Bates.